Hi, today I'm going to be looking at how to add roles to your tenant, and I'm going to log in as my tenant admin. We'll go to the tenant, and as you can see there are several users here and a team folder. I have a manager here, and the manager has access to folders in the team folder that the users don't have access to. But other than that, there really isn't any other authority. So if I log in as that manager, I get what all users get, which is the folders that I have access to. So logged in as a manager, I don't have any extra capabilities. If I go to this settings area, I do have this hamburger menu which I can click, and you'll see there's nothing available to me in that menu. So let me go ahead and log back out as a manager, who at this point is simply a user that has special permissions on a folder. Now I'll sign back in as the administrator for this tenant. And what I want to do is I want to give that manager more authority and access to features within this tenant. So to do that, I've got to create a role. So I go into the role, and there's none here. I'm going to go ahead and add one. This role is going to be called manager. Manager is good. We'll go with that. And for manager, I'm going to let them access team folders, users, groups, guest users, branding, reports, and cluster info. We'll hit apply. I've created the manager role, so now I'm going to go back to the dashboard, and I want to assign that role to the manager. So I go to the manager, and under account information there's a menu. I choose roles. I'm going to select the manager role. So you can see I have one role here. I could just as easily create roles that have limitations, such as the inability to bring in guest users. You might want to limit guest users for your users and only allow managers to do guest users. We could create that restriction here. I'm going to go back out to the tenant dashboard. Nothing has changed for the administrator, but if I log out and log back in as that manager, this manager now has an icon to get to the dashboard. That manager can see a lot of the things that the administrator for this tenant can see. For instance, group policy, and go to security, but they can't change anything. So I've given them access to see things, but they won't be able to access them. So user account, folder, home directory. So they really have no control over any of this. So it's an unnecessary addition. So let me log back out, and we'll log back in as the tenant admin. And I want to go to my tenant, and we'll go to roles, and I want to edit that role. So I'm going to turn off cluster info, and we hit apply. I'm going to log out and log back in as that manager. You'll notice that extra icon is now missing, and if I go into my settings, I see that all I have is my settings for this user, but I also have this menu here, which I showed you before had nothing on it, and now it has some features which I can access, like the user manager, guest user manager, group manager, tenant branding, so I can go in, and I now have the ability to go in and alter the branding, and I get access to reports. And there's a lot of information here. Of course, you might see how that's important to delegate the ability to generate reports and do analysis, add and remove users. And now this manager has that authority. So I hope that was helpful. Of course, anytime you want to revoke this capability, you can delete the user or you can delete the role. So I hope that was a good demonstration of how you can use roles to manage your users and give users access to features that normally they wouldn't have. And if you're managing hundreds or even thousands of users, of course this can be very helpful to get assistance from other managers. So you have a great day, and I'll see you in the next tutorial.